Welcome to our executive interview series at Cyber Talks, presented by Cyberscoop. I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and we're here with Trevor Bren, an engineering manager at Varonis. Trevor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I'd like to start by asking, how has the enormous sudden attention around artificial intelligence and generative AI impacted your organization's cybersecurity planning heading into the coming year, and how you support your customers?
Oh, absolutely. Great question. We've seen a huge acceleration in the actual technology growth of AI, and we've seen a lot of agencies and organizations adopt it really quickly, especially with these collaborative tools in O365 and Copilot, right? These tools can really easily surface sensitive data that users may have access to but didn't know. And so we have been helping a lot of the agencies we work with kind of find and protect that most sensitive data to make sure it doesn't get kind of swept up in these new AI crazes. On top of that, as groups get more advanced in AI, they're going to want to train their own models or fine-tune existing ones for their mission. And if they end up sweeping up sensitive data or secret or top secret data into that, it's going to be permanently ingrained in the model. So we have to be cautious in kind of approaching this to make sure that we do it the correct way to actually reap the benefits appropriately. I've also seen a lot of users actually utilizing AI in their cybersecurity triage. You know, kind of always have an expert in cybersecurity on your shoulder who can help you investigate vulnerabilities or actually hunt down alerts, but the adversary has it as well, right? I think it's only a matter of time before we see a phishing attack tailored towards 10,000 or 100,000 individuals, written like a human being with specific details all generated automatically. So while this has been a huge boon for a lot of organizations, we have to approach it cautiously because the risk is there.
And then how has the increasing shift to and reliance on cloud services made real-time cybersecurity and threat detection easier or harder for organizations?
I tend to look at the cloud platforms as both a benefit and a risk. Now, if we look at COVID, I don't see how anybody could have survived the remote workforce changes without these cloud apps. It just wasn't possible. But now we have this boundary between the outside world and our inside data that basically doesn't exist. It's so blurry, and a single misconfiguration that would have exposed you to small amounts of risk before could open you up to the entire world. Now we have a lot of these infrastructure services that we're not managing anymore, and the security is being handled by someone else, which is a great benefit. But the risk is, if one of those services is ever compromised, we don't have the tools, or we're not looking in the right places to even catch it as it happens. So having that looking glass inward is going to be super critical in case any of those attacks, and we've seen them happen already with forged secret keys, if any of those actually happen. On top of that, we're seeing a lot of these tools actually coming with native security solutions baked into them, which is a huge change from the on-prem components, but solely relying on those really gives the attackers a map to exactly what you're doing and how you're inspecting it, because you're using the same things as everybody else. We're also seeing attackers utilize these services. It's very easy to spin up an attack area from inside of AWS and circumvent some of these rudimentary UEBA systems, because you're coming from inside of the United States, you're coming from a recognized IP, it may not even be caught before it's too late. So while we do have to adopt cloud to kind of survive the changing world, we have to make sure we're cautious and we have a good handle on where our data is and how users are interacting with it, or it can end up drowning us.
Well, Trevor Bren, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to share some of your insights and enlightening us about some of the security issues we now face in this world of AI.
Yeah, thanks for having me.